Hello, everybody. Just me and you. How are you, George?
How are you doing?
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
That's great.
Yeah.
Uh
Anything doing in Israel these days?
well, I think we're all just anticipating whether this uh exchange of prisoners will happen and hostages.
Yeah.
But I think
Señor Jorge,
Don Mario, we're talking about what's going on with the exchange. There's a lot of people that are very upset that don't think it's a good thing. They think that we should get all of the hostages
yeah,
once.
everybody thinks like that, but he probably is getting pressures from all over the place.
Yep. You cannot win.
No, no, y esos bastas están festejando en países árabes el triunfo del pueblo árabe contra Israel. But it was like a triumph for them, porque they got basically what they want. They got Israel against a corner, and I don't know. No sé lo que va a pasar. Esto no se terminó todavía. Sorry, sorry, I had it off. Sorry.
Okay. Can a person give testimony for the wife of your stepson? Besura Amri, Baal Kishto. The husband is like your wife. And therefore, since he's the husband of the mother of this guy, he's like his father. And then this wife is like his daughter-in-law. So that would be a prohibition to testify. But Bipumpadisa Amri, Isha Kabaila, not just Baal Ki Ishto, but it's the opposite, Isha Kabaila. And therefore, the wife of your stepson is like the same as the status of the stepson himself, which is Asr. Damrav Yinam Rav, Damrav Rav Minayin Isha Kabaila. And Isha is treated like her husband. Ervas Achi Avicha Lo Segale. Don't have relations with or don't view the ervas of your father's brother. El ishtolo tikrav dodas chahi. Don't have relations with his wife. She's your aunt. But it's not her aunt. Aisha's dodo. Really, that's the brother, the father's brother's is dod, is his uncle. This is really Aisha. So why are you calling it dodcha? From here we learn sheisha kabaila, a wife and a husband, the same person. That's why, for example, Hanukkah, we say ishto kagufo. And when you light, the wife doesn't have to light. Your lighting basically covers your wife. Then we said Bal Imo. We said, let's say your mother remarried, right? So you have a stepfather. So he can't testify for you. You can't testify against him. Who ubno v'chosno, his son and his son-in-law. Now, the bno, so hainu achiv, it's his brother. So, Amar Rav Yirmiyah lo nitzracha el la'achi ha'ach. We're talking about the son of the stepfather, right? Your mother's husband, he had a son from a different mother. There's no relationship to that as well. Instead, but still, they're considered kroivim. Rav Chizda achsher ba'achei ha'ach. Rav Chizda said you're allowed to give edus for the brother of a brother. Now, didn't you hear what Rav Yirmiyah said? that the ache ha'ach is puzzle? Amrlu lo yishmi'ali. I didn't know. Lo svirali. I didn't hold of that. So I understand. Ihachi, the stepfather, right, the husband of your mother. So hainu achi. Isn't that treated like a brother? Tana achi mina av. So we're talking about a brother who's a brother from the same father. Uktani achi v'naim, a brother from the same mother. Amrav Chizda, avi chatan v'avi kala. Your mechutin, right? The father of your son-in-law, or the avi kala, the father of your daughter-in-law. Me'idin zelzeh. They can give, the mechutanim can give testimony. V'lo damula dari ela ki achla ladana. They're like a cover to a barrel. They're not connected really, related to you, the in-laws. They're just close. And midin, there wouldn't be a problem. Amrav Chanan made Adam Ishto Arusa. When you give a woman kiddushin, and you haven't brought her under the chuppah yet, so you're not related to her yet, you could give testimony. That's if you want to take money away from her. Because but if it's a case where she's going to gain money, lo mehemet, because she's going to bring that money into the marriage, and he's a nogeh b'davar. But v'lo, it's not correct. He's not believed in either case if she's an arusa, whether she's going to gain money or lose money. Because my daita, what are you going to hold here? To allow you to give testimony for you, the woman you gave kiddushin. Ishto ha'arusa lo onein. When she dies, you're not an onein. If you're a Kohen, you're not allowed to participate in her klura. V'chein hi lo onenes v'lo metamilo. Vice versa, if the person dies, she is not an onein and she's not metame. In Mesa, if she dies, ain't a yorsha, you don't inherit her. Mace who, if he dies, goy v'ksubasa, as long as the ksuba wrote min ha'yerusin. So you see, there's no kesher at all between them. So what's the problem? Why couldn't they give testimony? So the Gemara says, Hasam, by going to their funeral, being metame, she'eru tala rachmana. The Torah connected it to being related to them. Bakati love she'eruhi. As long as you haven't brought her into the chuppah, they're not kroivim. But regarding edus, it has to do with having no conflict of interest. He has connection with her. She's gonna be his wife. So therefore, we don't allow testimony. So Torah Rabbanim Chorgo Levado. It means in all these other cases we said, let's say your mother's husband, your stepfather. We said not just he is a problem, but his children and his son-in-law. But regarding a stepson, it stops with him. If he has children or in-laws, he can testify to them. Rav Yossi Omer Giso. Rav Yossi says Giso is a brother-in-law, and that's only him, and not, and also a stepson. Tanya Idich, Giso Levado, and not his relatives. Rav Yudah Omer Chorgo. Now the Gemara doesn't understand this, but it's very confusing. My comment. Maybe this is what it means. Chorgo Levado V'adin Legiso. Just like the stepson, only by him you can't testify. Same thing as by brother-in-law. And us Rav Yossi, comes Rav Yossi Lemeimar, Gisu Levado V'adin Lechorgo, just the opposite. The brother-in-law you can't testify, and it's only him, and the same thing with the stepson. Elamas Nisan Diktani Gisohu. Ubno v'chasno mani. So the Mishnah that says that your brother-in-law and his son and the son-in-law, who is that shita? Lo Rav Yehuda, lo Rav Yosi. Ella hachi kamar. This I have to explain the Mishnah we just learned. Chorgo levado. A stepson, it's only him that you can't testify, but his son and in-laws, you could testify. But Giso, a brother-in-law, who ubno v'chasno, not only him, but even his children and his in-laws. Vas Rabbi Yossi lemeimar? No, Giso levado, and Chorgo hu ubno v'chasno. El hadatani Rav Chia, Shmona avos, shein esrim v'arba. We said yesterday that if it's really 8, it turns out to be 24, because it's the index person, his son, his son-in-law. So then who is that like? Come on, Lok Rabbi Yossi, Lok Rabbi Yehuda. Elachi kamar. Chorgo levado. Aval giso hu ubno v'chasno. The Chorgo, it's only him you can't testify, but you could testify to his children and in-laws. A brother-in-law, it's him and his sons and in-laws. The kol sheken Chorgo. Not only a geese, a brother-in-law, but even a stepson. And therefore, Masnisan is Rabbi Yehuda. Vabaraisa is Rabbi Yossi. Amir Shmuel Allah Rabbi Yossi. Only the relatives that are roy to inherit are possible. Somebody gave a gift, and they wrote a shtar matana, documenting the gift, and there were 2 signatures. There were 2 brother-in-laws. Savar Rav Yosef Lachshure. Rav Yosef said it's okay, because Amar Rav Shmuel Rav Yossi, and the geese is not Yoiresh, the other geese. Amar lo Abaya mimai. Rabbi Yossi de Masnisan de Machsher, Bigiso. Who says that it was Rabbi Yossi in our Mishnah that's talking about it's okay? Dilma, it's Rabbi Yossi de Brisa de Apostle, Bigiso. More says Lo Sakit. That's not a good Havimina. Damar Shmuel, to go Nano Upinchas. Me and my brother, we are puzzled to be made. And perhaps over there, the psul is Davin and Achi V'Gisi. And what about me and my brother-in-laws? For example, 2 brothers marry 2 sisters. But a Gisi da Alma Shapir. But a regular brother-in-law who didn't marry one of the 2 sisters, maybe is mutter. But Abaya says V'Dilma Kagona Now Pinchas B'Shum de Giso Kamar. Maybe when it says me and Pinchas, maybe because it is his brother-in-law. And it's not that they're puzzle like brothers. Zilknei with Ede Mesira. He didn't like the star. So he said, do the kinyan with giving, let 2 Edim witness that the star is given. And we're going to be relying on Rabbi Lazar that the Ede Mesira is what is important, not what is written in signature. So it says Abai Vam Rav Abba Moed Rabbi Lazar that Mezuf Metoichoi. If 2 Edim sign and they're puzzle, that even if you have Ede Mesira, it's still the kinyan's not good. Amar Rav Yosef Zilo Shavki Lidus Vin Lacha. Okay, then I can't give the matana. He ended up agreeing that the matana is not good. Rav Yehuda Omer, that if the person who is related dies, there's still a connection if there's still, like, so for example, a son-in-law. So we said if the daughter dies, you might think that you could now give testimony to the son-in-law because he's not really related to you anymore. But if they had children, he remains a relative to you. Amrav Tanchum, Rav Tavla, Rav Bruna b'Shem Rav, Alachik Rav Yehuda. Now, Allah is like this. Rav Amar b'Shem Rav Nachman ain't Alachik Rav Yehuda. Now, Iked Masri Lo Laha, Dam Rav Rechana Aha. Ezu Dorash Rabbi Yossi Aglili. It says, Uvasa ela Kohanim al Vi'im. You shall come to the Kohanim ela Shofit Asher Yeh B'yimim Ahem. I understand. How can you go to a judge that doesn't live in your time? So what does that mean? Asher Yeh B'yimim Ahem. Ella Shahaya Karov V'nisrachik. You were related, but then the guy died, so you're now separated. And even though you're B'yamim Ahem, you can go and judge in front of him because the circumstances have changed. Regarding this issue.
Okay, honey, let me stop.